you look at this through an investor's eyes, through a policymaker's eyes, through even Main Street's eyes. What exactly should we be taking away from President Biden's first trip, first of all to the G7 and now to NATO?
Dom, great to be back with you. Look, this trip is all about reaffirming alliances, number one, and number two, restoring trust and democracy with China looming in the background. On the positive side for President Biden, even before arriving in Europe, he'd already done a lot in this respect by, one, showing that the U.S. can take care of business at home with how he's handled COVID-19, and two, delivering a consistent message that the U.S. is back on the international stage. And what has this led to? It's led to a turnaround in how America is viewed abroad. At the end of the Trump presidency, only about 17% had confidence in the U.S., while now, during the Biden presidency, over 75% have confidence. And the big question coming into this trip was, what concrete agreements could President Biden deliver on beyond goodwill to show that democratic states could still come together to tackle the world's problems? And you mentioned the issues, and I think they've gone a long way towards that.
So Andy, we're showing some of the kind of glamour shots and the photo opportunities that we've seen during the G7. Boris Johnson of the UK kind of elbow bumping President Biden. I mean, this all seems fine and dandy and touchy-feely, but are there any real things that can be taken away? Is this really going to be constructive enough, or the dialogue constructive enough to lead to any kind of economic impact whatsoever for those G7 countries and, of course, their relationship with places like China? It is the largest trading partner for many of these countries around the world.
So I think you make a very good point. What's just show and what's reality as far as the economy is concerned? I don't want us to underestimate the impact of the 870 million doses for COVID-19 vaccines that are going to be distributed around the world, because COVID-19 and dealing with that, having a good recovery after dealing with that, is still the key economic issue. And so first it's the U.S., continue on its path, then Europe, but then the rest of the world. So I think that's a long-term play, and that's important. I think challenging Russia on ransomware and cybersecurity. And also, this is the strongest statements that have been made with respect to China. It didn't go as far as what President Biden, the U.S. wanted to, but on human rights and other issues, they were very direct.
So Andy, folks, will be across the political spectrum, our viewers included. I mean, you can say what you will about President Trump, but there was very decisive and very perhaps provocative action that was taken by the Trump administration to handle our relationship with China. You can't doubt that. You can't dispute it. What exactly, then, is the Biden administration looking to do with regard to these meetings and the U.S.'s position on China? It is viewed by many as perhaps the kind of main relationship to focus on in the global economy for the next 10, 20, 30 years.
Well, Don, I think you made an excellent point. I agree with you wholeheartedly. The key is, what's the difference? Now, here's what's the same. What people like to say is that with President Trump going after China, he essentially crossed the Rubicon with China, and we're not going back. Remember, 73% of the American people don't have a favorable view of China, and so we're not going back to the lovey-dovey relationship with China that we had before. We're competitors and we're adversaries. And so I don't think that's changed at all. I think the method is what's changing. And I think what President Biden and his administration is trying to do is to say, okay, we tried the bilateral mano-a-mano approach. Let's do multilateral. Let's get all of our allies with us as we go at China, which they've started that process with G7, not as far as they wanted to, as I said before, but that's the key. It's about the approach, not the actual bent towards China.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.